Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday morning to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there, feeling great, getting up, and just having a fantastic start to your day and a great week out there so far. Appreciate you folks joining me this morning as we do what we do every morning, try to figure out what's going to happen weather-wise for the day ahead of us, and that's what we will do. Flash flooding and then some severe storms is the big storyline for today, and I know that seems like that's always a storyline of every day in the summer, at least this summer. I saw a post from the Twitter profile from the Storm Prediction Center that says this summer, this July had the most storm reports ever, had the most slight risk ever. Not ever, but it had a slight risk every single day of the month of July, which is a level 2 out of 5. I think it was just flat out one of the most active Julys since 2003. I think I read, if I read it correctly. I'll have to pull it up again if I butchered those stats. But anyways, it just goes to tell you it really has been active this summer. So we active again today. A lot of rain is falling across portions of southern Iowa into Missouri, and this will continue to be the storyline where flash flooding is a threat right now. We have flash flood warnings and will continue to be a threat throughout the next 24 to 36 hours. So that'll be the meat of the video, I would say. But of course, we're going to talk about everybody else and how the Northeast is living large this morning, waking up to a beautiful fall air mass. If you're into that kind of stuff, if you're not, then I guess you wouldn't consider it beautiful. I know I would. With that being said, if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Appreciate all the nice comments from yesterday's personal video. I do that once a month. Have not had a chance to really read through all of them and acknowledge all of them. So I will do that this morning. But thank y'all for all the kind words and nice things you guys have to say. It always just uplifts my spirit and makes me feel great. So thank y'all for that. And thank you for giving me this platform. You guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over? As always, please put those in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. And it's a great way to glorify God and look out for one another. So let's get rolling this morning. Water vapor loop. We'll try to explain. It's a little bit more sloppy on water vapor loop this morning. It's not as greatly shown, I would say, as the last couple days, but we'll get this clicker going. And it is working, so we're good to go. But high pressure right around in this region, right down here. And of course, we got the flow that's going around this high pressure. Of course, you can wiggle this line around a little bit. I feel like I drew that pretty good this time. But anyways, the flow is going around this. You even got a flow that's a little bit more broad that will actually help to pop up numerous showers and storms across the Four Corners region and just the Rockies in general. But this is the big storyline. You see this explosion of white on your screen. That is higher water content in the atmosphere, which means we have a ton of storm activity ongoing. Nothing severe as of right now, as of 7:03 a.m. Eastern time, but that could change by the time I'm done with this video or by the time that you watch the video. But steady stream of moisture that's funneling in through this area that I just drew, and this is impacting areas that we thought were going to impact. I would say that Iowa is seeing a lot more rain this morning than I thought they would, to be honest with you. But this is what's going on. If you notice, the flow continues to go like this, and then we have a trough set up over this entire region right into here, and this is funneling in some dry air, letting the temperatures drop lower. A wet bulb temperature is a lot lower in these areas, so the lower the dew points are, the lower the temperature can drop, if that makes any sense. So if you got dew points around 52, 53 degrees, then your temperatures can try to get to about 55, 54 degrees, and you're seeing that this morning in the Northeast. It's a beautiful, crisp air mass, and yeah, it's nice. Even some dry air will work its way or increase. Some drier, the air will get drier in the Carolinas is what I'm trying to say. But that's kind of what's going on. Hope that makes sense. But the ridge continues to be in this region. It's just not flexing as much. So the heat is really pumping for the south central states. We'll get this off the screen. And compared to the drawing, it matches up decently well with the heights here on tropical tidbits that I'm showing. And this is valid for right now. This kind of indicates in the warmer colors like the burgundy, the reds, and the oranges, the ridging in place. And you see that the darker reds right in here, this indicates the center of high pressure right here into this region, right over Texas, Oklahoma. and Arkansas, Louisiana. That means it's going to be very hot, sinking air is in place, which means we're not going to have any afternoon storms to really cool us down in this region. But you go to the outer portion of this, into this region, and this is what the flow sets up around the ridge, and it sets up over here too. But we have other secondary high pressures. The atmosphere is wild, guys. I mean, you got primary high pressures, you got little high pressures here, little high pressures there, you got cold high pressures, just high pressure everywhere, low pressure. So it's a lot more deep than what I talk about on here. But I just never want to get that deep. I get deep enough on these videos, right? So you notice the cooler colors over here over the northeast, like the yellows, the mustard colors, the greens. That is where troughing is setting up. Cooler temperatures over the northeast. We look at what is falling out there, and what you're looking at is Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and Missouri. And you see the flow, it almost comes in from the southwest to the northeast, and then it sort of takes more of a west to east kind of movement over eastern Nebraska and southwest and western areas of Iowa, and then it begins to sink southeastward out the northwest, and it is rounding this high pressure to the south. So this is just flowing through this entire region. We have enhanced moisture in the low levels. This is aiding in just a funnel of moisture, and not just moisture, guys, not just a fire hose of moisture, okay? But storms, I mean, strong to severe storms too. These storms are packing a punch. Nothing severe warned, but you got numerous flash flood warnings ongoing on top of these flood watches. But so flooding is a big issue. It's a big issue up here in northern Missouri, down here to the Interstate 70 corridor between Jefferson City and St. Louis, right where we thought it was going to set up. Over the next, I would say, 24 hours, this will become a bigger storyline for Kentucky, Western Tennessee as we get into the overnight hours. But this is what's going on right now. A lot of activity. I would say, in my opinion, there looks like there's a little bit more activity in Iowa than maybe I thought there was going to be. It's very active in Omaha right now, so I hope you guys are faring well. Definitely let me know what you folks are seeing out here in these states. Not only do we have the flash flooding risk, okay, we do have a chance for severe weather, okay, and this stretches from almost Kansas City through Columbia, Missouri, Jefferson, the Jefferson area. What's that, Jefferson City? I'm sitting here brain farting when I said the name of this town many times last night, but going through St. Louis, places like this. So this is ongoing right now, guys. So we zoom into this region. Let's see if we can get this right here. And yeah, this is everywhere. So this is not working out for us. But we'll just keep on rolling here. But there is a 2% risk of a tornado within 25 miles in any given location. This does include St. Louis and the Columbia, Missouri, places like that. Wind threats, there is a 15% chance of winds exceeding 50 knots or higher. That's 55 to 60 miles per hour into this region. So we need to watch out for some damaging winds. The hail threat, not that large today, and it's tearing my nerves up that it says Jefferson on here, and I think it's Jefferson City. So guys, this is what I'm talking about how my flow can get messed up. So it's Jefferson City. So it just has Jefferson on the storm prediction. So that's what I thought. I thought it was Jefferson City. Sorry for getting discombobulated. That completely messed me up. I said Jefferson City about 100 times in last night's video, and all of a sudden it just says Jefferson on here. Come on, man, get it together. But you got the 2% risk of a tornado. Flash flooding risk for today over the next 24 hours. You got a moderate risk right over St. Louis and surrounding regions. It stretches all the way down into southwestern areas of Illinois. Then you got the slight risk, but it extends all the way into western Kentucky and an extreme northwest and northern sections of Tennessee. I would say this southeastern portion of this will be something that really develops probably in the latter half of the 24-hour period. Okay, watches and warnings, and we're gonna talk about that in better detail here in a second. But that moderate region in that red area, that means there's at least a 40% risk of flash flood guidance being met. Okay, watches and warnings, excessive heat warnings continue. And I tell you what, the advisories, warnings, things like that, this indicates very well where that high pressure is. It's right over this region, right into here of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana. Okay, and this is exactly where the center of the excessive heat warnings are. Continues to be, it's right over your house in for you, Mary, in northeast Texas, right over you. So it continues to be very hot. Heat advisories also on the outer edges of these excessive heat warnings. You also have red flag warnings in this hot pink color where you guys really need some rain. Then you got the flood watches in the green, and the flash flood warnings ongoing in the red counties. So let's talk about the southeast first. Not a ton to mention, honestly. We'll keep this in motion. We could get some pop-up, sort of almost, I wouldn't even call them sea breeze, but just some storms right off the coast of the Georgia coastline. Same thing with Florida, just some pop-up activity. You can't rule out an isolated downpour into the Carolinas, but I think dry air will really limit any kind of convection, some storm activity at all up here in this region. I got very lucky yesterday. There was not a lot of widespread storm activity, but my house just happened to get hit by one of those storms and got almost 3/4 of an inch of rain, so it was a blessing for sure. And just, you can't rule out any activity here right where this high pressure is in northern Louisiana, northeast Texas. Sometimes you can still get these pulse storms. So, you see some activity right here around the Shreveport region. Consider yourself very lucky if this materializes today, for sure. Something that could really cool you guys down on what's going to be a very hot day. We'll watch this energy that flows in later tonight out of Illinois. This will enhance the flooding threat, and this will eventually make its way into Kentucky. And we'll go on and zoom into that area. We'll start off this morning. Not a whole lot. Some showers, maybe some storms could drift into southern Illinois. Well, they definitely will in probably southern Illinois, but what about western Kentucky, western Tennessee? I think it'll remain, for the most part, pretty quiet throughout the day. But tonight, watch out Mayfield, Paducah, Kentucky, right in the middle of the night, probably after midnight. Some storms could rumble into your region. And then I think you're just going to flat out wake up tomorrow morning, 6, 7, 8 a.m. to a very active start to your morning in southern Indiana, southern Illinois, western half of Kentucky, maybe even into Tennessee, where I think we're waking up to a flooding risk into this region tomorrow. We'll talk about this in the next video. But I definitely think you're going to be waking up to a lot of heavy rain for your Thursday morning into this region. Of course, in these videos, we typically only in the mornings talk about what's going to happen over the next 24 hours unless something significant is ongoing or coming up. But Florida, just typical summer type activity out there. We'll take it all the way to about 4 p.m. and we just got some isolated scattered storms out here firing. Some of these could briefly hit strong to severe limits. We'll see what happens, but just typical Florida weather. Really, anybody could see it, but anybody can miss also. So these will kind of develop, flow through, and I think that, if you're along the western to southwestern portion of Florida, I think that you guys stand the best chance, based off the HRR model, of some heavy rain, and some of these could produce some flash flooding, so definitely be careful. Up here for my folks in the Northeast, it's very nice as of right now. We can update this and actually see what it is right at this second. This is coming in. Yep. Okay, so as of right now, as of 7:15, I think this was last updated at 6:45 a.m. But these were the temperatures then. I mean, I'm sure it hasn't budged much, but widespread 40s as far southwest as, of course, you're probably getting it in West Virginia too, but these higher elevations and mountaintops. But as far as just kind of lower elevations, northern PA, the southern tier Finger Lakes region of New York State, and of course up into the Catskills and Adirondacks, it's beautiful. Waking up to a crisp air mass. You're probably going to need a light jacket for certain folks. But I know you guys are built different up here. The 40s probably is not cold, but the 40s is probably pretty chilly for August 2nd. But nice into the southern New England region, even New York City, even though you got the urban heat island, it's still probably feeling pretty nice. But as soon as you get away from the cities, it's probably deep into the 50s, maybe upper 40s, really anywhere that you see on this map. So very pleasant conditions. As far as weather and, what could happen today, guys, there's nothing to really speak on. You're being dominated by this troughing in place dry air mass, but we will watch some energy that flows in out of Canada that'll eventually try to make its way into the Northeast. So watch out, the Rochester region, maybe down to Buffalo, Watertown, Syracuse. You'll wake up to some showers tomorrow morning, but of course, this isn't going to be a big deal whatsoever. West Virginia could wake up. West Virginia, western areas of Virginia could wake up to some showers tomorrow morning. Also, South Central U.S., we'll talk about this area right here in a second. We're going to have a separate little section all for you folks in Missouri and Illinois. But the other area to watch for strong storms potentially is this area here in Colorado. We'll watch for some stronger storms with any of these storms that do form in Colorado, kind of northeast, eastern Colorado, maybe into Nebraska. Later this evening, I would say, right as the sun's going down, you guys could definitely get some severe storms into this region. We'll definitely watch out here in northwest Kansas, southwest Nebraska, and northeast Colorado. We could get some storm activity for sure. Everybody else, not a whole lot. You could get some pop-up activity in northern Louisiana. Count your blessings if that happens, because it's going to be very hot before that happens. So if this happens, it cools you guys down late in the afternoon, evening, around the Shreveport region, extreme eastern Texas, definitely thank the good Lord for that, because this will definitely cool you down. But I'm not expecting anything severe. So if it happens, just a downpour, maybe an isolated storm. But temperatures today, guys, brutal. But you can see the boundary, right? You go from 103 degrees to just the 80s in Nebraska. Very hot into southern and south central Nebraska, Oklahoma, almost everybody in the state except the extreme western panhandle of Oklahoma, and maybe the higher elevations of the mountains of kind of eastern and southeastern Oklahoma that kind of make their way into Arkansas. I always brain fart the name of these mountains. I think it's a little bit of a difficult word to pronounce. I'm sure Mary will help me out here since you're really close. But very hot in Texas. Rinse and repeat, right? Just continues to be brutally hot. Just a very relentless summer for you folks. I feel bad for you guys. I don't know how you guys are doing it. I'm sure your electric bills are absolutely outrageous out here. But we look at the heat indices, and it's going to be well over 110 degrees for Tulsa, down to Houston, down to Shreveport, over to Little Rock, even Jackson, Mississippi, just very hot in this little corridor right here where you have the moisture coming out the Gulf. So the South Central U.S., and we'll cover Missouri, things like that, folks like that in this panel right here. But we obviously got what's going to really unfold later this afternoon and this evening, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But there could be some isolated strong to severe storms for you folks in the UP of Michigan, northern Wisconsin. I know it's not very active, what you're seeing up here for you folks like Stephen, but you cannot rule out some isolated storms for sure. This is around 4 p.m. There could be some activity. There's a little bit showing up here in the eastern UP of Michigan, so we could definitely get some activity into this region, but it's saying the HRRR model is saying it's going to be very isolated. So we'll see what happens. My folks in Nebraska, another round of kind of overnight showers and storms, also in kind of northern to northwest Kansas. I think you guys are going to see some storm action in this region again. Some storms are going to ride that Kansas-Nebraska state line into this region. So don't be surprised once again, especially if you live in southern Nebraska, southwest Nebraska, northern Kansas, you have another late night round of storms. Just seems like that's been the general theme for you guys for dating back to a while now. So my folks in Missouri, Illinois, surrounding regions, okay, we got a lot of activity ongoing right now. Another look at what's going on right now. And wow, we're going to have to zoom out here. Here we go. Should come in here in a second. So this is what's going on right now. Pop up. There we go. Steady stream of storms flowing through this region. The HRRR model is picking up on it decently, but definitely not as widespread as what's actually happening. So the idea is that this is going to continue probably through early afternoon. And this will eventually kind of drift a little bit deeper into Illinois. It might make it all the way to Springfield, Champaign for you folks. And, maybe even drift as far east as Evansville. But then as we get into 4 or 5 p.m., another area of organized showers and storms get going. And then we do it again tonight. And this is around 8 or 9 p.m. This might get cranked up a little bit earlier compared to last night. And here it comes. More storms coming out of the southern Iowa area. You guys are going to have another stormy period coming up later this evening, and then this continues to ride. Here it goes. It's funneling down again. This is even a tick even more eastward. Okay, St. Louis, you guys could get some big time storms late this evening, 10, 11 p.m., give or take an hour, and these continue just to funnel in through this region. Okay, steady stream of moisture This is getting into the wee hours of the morning tomorrow morning. And then the HRRR model is saying that the worst of the weather is going to be right here around the Evansville area, Carbondale, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, western Kentucky region as we're waking up. So we'll do this again. This is going to crank up as early as 3-4 p.m. in Iowa, stream down, ride the Mississippi River south, southeastward, down the Missouri-Illinois state line, and eventually shift a little bit further east as we get into the overnight hours. The HRRR model, as far as how much rain it's saying it thinks is going to fall between now and the next 24 hours, this is also kind of picking up on what's falling at this hour. And just a steady streak right here in western and southwest Illinois. I mean, if you're in Quincy, Springfield, down to St. Louis, down to Mount Vernon, Carbondale, even, HRRR model saying this is going to eventually try to ooze its way into like the Evansville area, Harrisburg, Carmi, Fairfield, Illinois. You guys could get, and this entire streak right here, okay, you guys could get anywhere from 2 to as much as 5-6 inches of rain. And this is on top of areas, especially in this eastern area, this western area right here, of rain that's already fell. Several inches it's already fell. I'm not hearing a lot about flash flooding in this region as of right now. So that leads me to believe that you guys I'm not hearing a whole lot. You guys let me know. But this is leading me to believe that there's no significant flash flooding things happening out there. Could be totally wrong. I'm just not seeing a lot in the community. I'm not seeing a lot on Twitter or anything like that. And maybe this is because it's coming more so in waves every 8 to 12 hours and not like all at one time. But the NAM picking up on what's going on decently well, but it does say, hey, it's going to pretty much fizzle out by mid-afternoon. You'll get a break, and then here comes another round. This is cranking up as early as 9 p.m., okay, but it's much later than the HRRR model. It says it's going to start in kind of north-central Missouri and then head more so west to east instead of that kind of northwest to southeast kind of movement, and then head right. I will tell you, the NAM and the HRRR model is both saying the same thing, that, like areas like St. Louis, which most people know of St. Louis, Quincy, both of these areas are going to get hit pretty hard by some storms sometime. But the HRRR model says late evening. The NAM says wee hours of the morning tonight, okay, into tomorrow morning. So a steady stream of moisture. This is what the NAM says we're going to wake up to tomorrow morning. Storm still riding the Mississippi River. And then we got rain falling in south central and southern areas of Illinois. It's storming pretty good in southern Indiana. And then I would say the rain will be more widespread than what this is showing into Kentucky. So the models disagree a little bit. We expect that, but they're not that different. They really aren't, setting up in general in this entire region right into here. The NAM, the NAM definitely is a little bit different as far as how much rain's going to fall. It really likes this area of northern Missouri, which is getting a lot of rain right now, to see over 10 inches of rain. I don't know if that much rain's going to fall, but it does kind of shift and have the rain a little bit further just in general west for the next 24 hours. So we'll see what happens with this. It really wants to hit southern Iowa, but this is also picking up on what's fell over the last 3 to 4 hours too. So keep that in mind. The National Weather Service, I would say it in a way favors both. It kind of meets in the middle. But it is saying over the next 24 hours that this area, basically on Interstate 70, will continue to get hit hard between Jefferson City, Columbia, and Missouri. In St. Louis. And then, even getting into the northern Boot Hill, Missouri kind of region, you guys could get a lot of rain too. But this is how much rain it's showing. It's really liking the idea of eastern Missouri, western Illinois continuing to get hit pretty hard in this region. So stay safe out there. There is a severe weather risk as the updraft Felicity swath. With these storms, they could produce some rotations. There's going to be some spinning nature in some of these storms. We're probably going to get some tornado warnings sometime between now and the next 24 hours with these storms. So please, even though everybody's tunnel vision in this region on the flooding threat, please keep the tornado threat in mind. And if you get under a tornado warning, don't get it mixed up with a flash flood warning, because you could have both at the same time. So take it serious, guys. But this indicates where this run of the HRRR model and is showing where the best, basically where these updrafts could be spinning the best in these regions right into here. So this goes right over St. Louis, so please be careful. For my folks out into the western U.S., we'll include the northern plains in this region too. Just a general flow, not as much of a spin because this is kind of just riding in around this ridge center to the east of you guys. But man, look at all this shower and storm activity. I mean, this pops up and it is widespread. This is as of about 5 p.m. Rocky time out here. And I mean, I can name all the states. You got showers moving into southern Montana, widespread shower and storm activity into Wyoming. Maybe not quite as active in Colorado today, but still some shower and storm activity. Utah, very active today. And then even the northern half, especially central and kind of northeast areas of Nevada, could definitely get some rain today. These areas could always use the rain for sure. This will kind of pivot through the region and then diminish as you get later into the night. But definitely a lot of rain into these regions today. You guys have definitely gotten a lot of monsoonal rains, and look how much could fall. Salt Lake City could see a good bit of rain today, a half inch. I mean, that's a good bit of rain for that area. I mean, look at kind of eastern Nevada going for areas of 1/10 of an inch of rain to as much as a 1/2 inch of rain. Yellowstone National Park could get some appreciable rain today, 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of rain is possible. You do have a slight risk of flash flood guidance being met. I got distracted when I was trying to explain it back here because I was getting mixed up with the old Jefferson City thing. But definitely keep in mind of flooding in the western U.S. today for sure. Temperatures, beautiful weather in the northeast, 60s and 70s for highs, some 80s. Once you start to get into southern PA, you start to get back into the 80s. Beautiful, beautiful early August weather. You get down to the Carolinas, I mean, it's not that bad. It's a few degrees below average, 80s and 90s. But the further west you work, especially southwest into the deep south, you get right back into those brutal summer temperatures into the 90s, high humidity, and then you work your way even more west under the influence of this high pressure. Temperatures well above 100. We already talked about this. Big time boundary in Missouri between very hot, miserable, hot weather and then a lot of rain setting up where you'll go from potentially hitting 100 degrees in Springfield. You drive up to Columbia, Missouri, and maybe only in the 80s and 70s. So temperatures out west, hot where it normally is, but nothing unusually hot anymore. But it continues to be very hot. Hot up into Montana, again, another hot day. It's crazy. It's hotter in Montana than it is, say, maybe areas of Colorado. So hotter in Montana than it is in South Carolina today. Right here in the middle, where most of the moisture will be, rain-cooled temperatures into this region. And then the northwest will certainly be pretty warm today, a little bit above average up into here. That's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Not sure if I'll have a video tonight. It just depends. But appreciate the support, and I hope you guys stay safe out there, and have a great Wednesday. God bless.